So I wanted to touch on the Devondre Campbell situation from the 49ers game last night. Of course, Devondre Campbell was on the Packers for the past few seasons. The Packers released him this year. And looking back, he came out publicly, shared a lot of things. I made a full video on it about 8 or so months ago. I was watching it this morning to remember some of the things that Devondre Campbell shared when he left Green Bay. But, seeing what happened, if you don't know, the 49ers got linebacker Dre Greenlaw back from injury. Campbell had started about 12 out of 13 games this season, so he'd been a main piece of that 49ers defense. And then he doesn't get the start this week because Dre Greenlaw is back. And then I believe it was in the third quarter, Dre Greenlaw and D. Winters, two of their linebackers, were dealing with some injuries, and so they wanted Devondre Campbell to come in, and he refused to go into the game and then walked off the field in the fourth quarter. And so that's something you don't really ever see, if ever. Like in the NFL, I guess you could think of maybe Antonio Brown a few years ago on the Buccaneers deciding during the game just to leave the field. But it sounds like maybe Devondre Campbell was frustrated because, he had been the guy. He had been the, starting linebacker. Then Dre Greenlaw comes in. He doesn't start. And then when they need him in a very close game, I think it was a, 6-point game to end last night, Devondre Campbell just refuses to go into the game. So that's pretty wild. And there are a lot of quotes from different 49ers players after the game sharing things. And I'll share one quote from Charvarius Ward, who said, "He's a professional. He's been playing for a long time. If he didn't want to play, he shouldn't have dressed out. He could have told them that before the game. I feel like that was some sucka bleep that he did. It definitely hurt the team. D went down and we needed a linebacker, so for him to do that, that's some sucka stuff to me, in my opinion. He's probably going to get cut soon, so it is what it is with that." So lots of these 49ers players were very honest, and if you had a player just during the game when the team needs a guy just decided not to go in, I think every player would be frustrated. And so, as I shared earlier, I did make a video on the tweets that Campbell shared. I'll try to leave that down below, from like 8 or so months ago after, leaving Green Bay. And let me just read 2 of them here that I was re-looking at. And I shared this on X to sort of preface this here. So I said on X, and then I'll read the 2 tweets. "After leaving Green Bay, Devondre Campbell made it clear the reason he was having success early on in Green Bay was partly because he wasn't doing what the coaches asked him to do. With that in mind, it's not as surprising that he refused to go into the game last night. These tweets from when he left Green Bay make it clear he was okay going against the coach's will at times if he thought if he thought his way was better." So let me read these tweets from March 17th. He said, he's responding to someone here. He says, "Barry ain't do bleep for me. If I listened to half the bleep they asked me to do, I probably would have been out of the league by now. You weird as bleep speaking on something you have no real knowledge of." So he's saying that he wasn't doing half of what the Packers were telling him to do. And then he said, "Fast forward to 2022, 2023 season, I tried to be a team guy and play within the system and do what they asked. Quote, be more visual on QB and not look up routes. Back up from line of scrimmage so I'm not pressing every receiver or tight end. End of quote. Look at what happened. They had me, Quay, out there looking clueless, shaking my head." So I can understand if a player is frustrated with what the coaches are telling him to do. And I would assume, if you're a player, the coach is telling you to do one thing, you think that the opposite is better. I could see why that could cause you to be frustrated when you feel like you're not playing at your highest level because the coach isn't putting you in the best position. I'm not saying that's what happened. That's what he's saying. He's believing there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But clearly, I remember when I saw that, part of me was wondering if another team would be willing to take a chance on him when he, publicly proclaims that he wasn't listening to what the coaches were telling him to do out on the field, and that's why he was playing better football because he was sort of doing his own thing. And while it's good when it's working for you, I just thought that maybe some other teams would be a little bit more slow to want to sign him if he's publicly saying, he at times just doesn't listen to the coaches if he doesn't agree with what they're doing. And so I just think that when you have that sort of situation there after leaving Green Bay, and now you have him, walking off the field, other teammates very frustrated that he just decided to give up on the team during the game. It's almost like, you can sort of just see similar things going on after leaving Green Bay and here in San Francisco. So it's a very interesting situation. And let me read here what just came out about this from Kyle Shanahan on sort of what their plan is going to be going forward, because you would expect like he couldn't stay on the team after all this happened. And here it is from Ian Rappaport, who said, the 49ers are moving on from linebacker Devondre Campbell. Coach Kyle Shanahan said after he refused to go back into the game on Thursday night upon being out of the starting lineup. Shanahan said they are working out the semantics of how suspension is an option, as is release. And now I'd find it very shocking if any team took a chance on him, unless there's some massive misunderstanding. But it sounds like he just wanted to leave the game, didn't want to play because he was potentially frustrated because he wasn't starting. That's what it sounds like. Unless there's some other story that hasn't come out yet, that's what sort of it looks like right now. So I just think that lots of teams would probably be pretty hesitant to sign him because of what happened here. But I just thought I should touch on that because, with him in Green Bay, it's the stories sort of tied together with the Packers. But if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.